principles are really, really basic. We don't believe that immigration controls, border controls, immigration policy can be reformed. They have to be fundamentally destroyed. And our basic principles are really threefold, which is the right to resist displacement, the right to freedom of movement, and the right of return. And we think those three principles are really fundamental to human self-determination, to community self-determination, and to dignity for all oppressed peoples. In particular, this event is really, really close to our heart because colonization, displacement, gentrification is at the core of No One is Legal's principles, and particularly to implicate ourselves in the ways in which we're all responsible for perpetuating those realities. Even spaces like W2 and other artist spaces in this neighborhood, the downtown east side, have become symbols of gentrification for this neighborhood. All of us who are not native are complicit in the colonization of Turtle Island. All of us are complicit as people who reside in the so-called first world for the devastation that's happening all across the so-called third world, from Palestine to Latin America to the Middle East. And so all of these things are really, really important. And in particular, knowledge that this space is a really contested space. Woodward's is a symbol of gentrification. This is not Woodward's, but this is why we're here. We would not be in Woodward's, but all of these kinds of spaces have become tools of social control, particularly in the lead up to the Olympics, and the ways in which this neighborhood is being gentrified and people are being pushed out, and the way in which art has become a form of gentrification. So hopefully that's not something we're going to be witnessing today.
So it does for you what you want to do, is give some good energy, clear your energy, and it really does help. So like people from where that came from for 15 years,
for the injustices, for the displacement that's happening, but at the same time, all of us also have the potential to become agents of change and of resistance to those injustices. So on that note, like she said, my name is Invincible. I live in Detroit, and I'm a hip-hop artist. I'm also a community organizer. I work with youth in Detroit specifically, and also through my music and my art and media, I talk about different issues that are important to me, that are connected to my communities. And whenever I tour, whenever I do shows, I also make sure to connect with the local communities, especially those who are organizing against injustice and creating visionary alternatives to those injustices. And so I'm going to start out just giving you an overview of everything we're going to do today. I know everybody's sleepy. It's been a long day, probably a long week or month, a year for a lot of people. I just got in after traveling all day and several other days this week, but I'm just so uplifted in here, and plus it smells good, so. In Palestine and right here. And for me, you know, I know quite a bit about Detroit. That's where I live. I know quite a bit about Palestine. I'm actually half Israeli and anti-Zionist, and so, you know, I have a lot of experience there. And this is only my second time here, and so I have a lot to learn from y'all. So I definitely hope that I hear a lot from you in the workshop portion, which is going to be the second half. The first half is going to be more like a film screening. And so I'm going to show y'all two films that are actually docu-music-videos, a new genre that myself and Emergence Media, which is the independent label that I work with and help found. And secondly, I'm going to show y'all another piece, another docu-music video called People Not Places. This is the world premiere of it. It was inspired by a conversation I had with my mom, or my Ima, who is Israeli, and she hadn't been back for years. And I asked her if she missed back home. And she said, "Oh, Ilana, don't be silly. I miss people, I don't miss places." And I was like, that's beautiful. You know, of course we should miss people more than places. But I thought about it, and it kind of occurred to me what a privilege it was not to miss this particular place that had displaced hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. And has anyone in here ever heard of birthright tours? Raise your hand if you heard of birthright tours. Okay, a good handful of people. Birthright tours, for those that didn't raise your hand, is when people of Jewish heritage or people who ever consider being Jewish can get a free trip to Israel for 10 days, and they get shown how great Israel is, and basically it's like a 10-day brainwash camp where they're trying to explain to you, you know, all the great parts of Israel and trying to convince you to move there as a Jewish person so that they can have a Jewish majority. And I took the list and I researched the Palestinian significance of each of those places. And talked to a lot of different friends and family about the Palestinian significance of each of those places. And looking at not just the way that the places were erased, but the way that the language was erased. So for example, if Haifa is the Palestinian name for the city, when all the Palestinian people that were displaced got pushed out and some people massacred, and then when Jewish people moved in and settled there, it was now called Haifa, which was the Israeli or Hebrew pronunciation of it. And actually what's happening now is most signs there actually say the name of a place in in 3 languages. But now they're trying to erase all the Arabic from all those signs and just completely erase the Arabic and Palestinian heritage from any of that land. As well as co-opt the culture. Like for example, falafel or hummus, is called Israeli food when that's Palestinian food and things of that nature. So there's all these historic ways that colonization has happened, not just of land but of culture and language. And then there's the current continued colonization, continued occupation, and continued oppression that Israel is committing in all of our names with all of our tax dollars. And so I wanted to...
Do you ever miss back home? I miss people, but I don't miss places.
Prepare for takeoff, touchdown, Ben Gurion. Strict search, make sure nobody enter with bombs. Blue, white flag for this birthright tour I'm on. Never mention 3 villages that the airport is on. Recent history buried, but it speaks to the sand. All Jews, law of return, I don't seem to understand. A land without a people for people without a land. But I see a man standing with a key and a deed in his hand. Museum of the Holocaust, walking outside in the distance, all go stolen a Molotov. Houses burned with kerosene, mass graves couldn't bear the scene. It wasn't a pogrom, it was the rules of their Yasin. Shopping at the Kenya on Malha, built it on the back of the town Al Malha. Wishing we could call its name, appalled by the change, and now a marvel of change is all that remains. My evil misses people, not places. Actually see the towns with names of Arabic and Hebrew places. The policies is evil and racist, deceitful and heinous. You'll never be a people stable, legal displacement.
إذا كان قولي كيف ما اشتاق لو أفرح عايش فينا.
At the Wailing Wall I'm rolling a wish, then sticking in between the hole and the bricks. I'm feeling more than melancholy. This used to be the Moroccan quarter until we stopped them short. And now they grandkids is the ones that stole my rocks and borders. I ain't wanna play and I don't pray often, so I'm AWOLing. While you making native sons feel like a stranger in their homeland, like James Baldwin. This ain't about a Quran or a synagogue or mosque or Torah. Colonizers break it into acres and dunhams. The race and the culture when they change hyper to hyper. Change Jaffa to Yafo, the old city left a home. Home is pronounced hummus, we ate in the restaurant. Next hit the discotheque, yes we on the list of guests. Palestinians can't get in, it's blatant disrespect. Cops stopping for speaking their languages, it's dangerous to repeat it when with history we disconnect. My even misses people, not places. Actually see the towns with names of Arabic and Hebrew places. The policies is evil and racist, deceitful and heinous. You'll never be a people stable, legal displacement.
إذا كان سامي بلادنا قبل ما تيجي انت تبدلها. إذا كان قولي كيف ما اشتاق لو أفرح عايش فينا.
200-year-old olive trees are proof murder the groves to build a wall, not a future enclosed. Settlement spreading like cancer and toxic sewage polluted the roads. Not full of checkpoints that superimpose the truth and it shows. Village ruins overgrown with planted trees. Who'd have thought the desert blooms a tubage spot? I can't believe it ain't environmental. Disguising lies, accepting lives like manatees. Calling it a transfer, please, more like a catastrophe. Birthright choice recruiting them, confuse them into moving in. Claim it's only names and words, but denying the root of them. Power been abusing it, our past never excusing them. 60 years since 48 and 40 since Jerusalem. My boy Shady wanted to visit us so badly. He lied, he's diabetic to see it for 5 seconds. 194 rule the courts in the case. Mom, you can't disconnect the people from the importance of place. My even misses people, not places. Has she seen the towns with names in Arabic, the Hebrew places? The policies is evil and racist, deceitful and heinous. You'll never be a peaceful state with legal displacement.